Yes, we are live. Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. First of all, I welcome you all. This is me, Hema Zafar, and on behalf of Scholarships Corner page and in collaboration with Language House, we are presenting you IELTS Crash Course session number 5, which is IELTS writing session with our trainer Sana Khattak. Assalamu alaikum Sana, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, Hima. I'm really fine. Ramadan is going well. How are you?
I am good too. So, without any further ado, let's start our writing session, which is quite lengthy. So all the viewers who are watching us right now, I would suggest them to please pay attention because this session is very important, and it would be like 40 to 50 minutes again. And please participate as much as you can. And this session is our last session. So this is the wrap up. Before that, let me recap you our previous session, which was IELTS reading. In that session, we discussed time and pattern, types of question, time management, and some tips about IELTS reading. And today we are gonna share with you the time pattern and usually topics assessment sheet regarding IELTS writing section. So let's start, Sana. My first question is, what is IELTS writing?
Well, Hima, that is a very important question, and also the first question that comes to your mind whenever you appear for IELTS exam, because writing is the most challenging module. First of all, it's challenging because it comes at the end of the test when when you have been sitting in the center for like 4 to 5 hours. And writing is also challenging because it demands all the other skills to come into play. You have to read the question, then you have to think, you have to write, and also you're tired as well at the end of the test. All these things make it a very challenging module to attempt. However, there are very tips and tricks that you can follow to get a really good band in writing module. If you could please play the slides, Hema.
Sure.
So that would be really nice so that people can note that down, because there is a slight difference between IELTS general module and IELTS academic module. The tasks are slightly different and also their weightage is slightly different. So I'd like people to understand that. Okay, so we are starting with IELTS general writing module. IELTS general writing module has two tasks. Task one is a letter, and you'll have to write that letter in 20 minutes. It's extremely easy. The word limit is 150 words, and I will not recommend you to write more than that. Although you can, if you want to write a longer letter, you can, but in 20 minutes, I will not recommend you to write a letter which is longer than 150 words. If you write less than 150 words, your marks will be deducted. So my recommendation is write a letter of 150 words or around that. And the weightage of letter is only 30%. That means that your only the 30% of the marks come from the letter. That's why it's very easy, and also the weightage is only 30%. We will not be discussing the task one. We'll focus on task two, which is more challenging. Task two of IELTS exam has to be written in the 30 minutes, and the weightage is 70%. 70% of your band score comes from IELTS task two in the writing module. And for that, you have 40 minutes. Also, you have a word limit of 250 words. You cannot write less than that. However, you are allowed to write more than 250 words. But again, I will not recommend you to write more than 250 words because that is time consuming. And in the coming session, we'll be also discussing that. So this is your IELTS writing general. And if you move on to the next slide, Hema, that tells you about IELTS academic test. IELTS academic is similar, but task one is different. You get an analysis paragraph. You will get either a pie chart or a flow chart or any graph, and you'll have to explain that in 20 minutes. Again, the weightage is only 30%, and it's very easy, so we will not be discussing that. Task 2 is similar as it was in the IELTS general. It's an essay, an academic essay of 250 words, and time limit is 40 minutes, and the weightage is 70%. So we'll be discussing IELTS task 2, which is the essay, and which is definitely the most difficult task in the whole IELTS exam.
Okay, so Sana, what is the difference between task 1 and 2?
Well, as I explained before, there is a lot of difference between task one and task two. Task one, you're just given 20 minutes to solve task one, and it only covers 30% of the weightage. Whereas task two is more important, and it gives you 70% of your marks, and you have 40 minutes to write it. So that is the difference between IELTS task one and two.
Okay, my next question is what is the IELTS essay pattern?
Well, yes, this is a very important question because many of the people who have really good English, they score really low on IELTS because they do not know the IELTS essay pattern. It is important, and your essay will be marked according to the pattern. So, Hima, if you could please play the slide so that people can take a picture of that. So, remember this thing: IELTS essay or any other academic essay always has these three parts: opening, middle, and end. Even if you're using a single sentence in English communication, it always has these three parts: opening, middle, and end. For the purpose of IELTS, your opening is called introduction. In the introduction session, you will introduce the introduction portion, and in the discussion section, you will be given a social issue. You will discuss that issue and express your opinion about it. And in the conclusion, you will just present that why you think in this specific way. So I'd like to discuss all these three portions in a little bit detail. So yes, please move on to the next slide, Hima. The next, yes, this one. So as you can see, this is about IELTS introduction. There are 4 elements which should be there in your IELTS introduction. In fact, 3 of them are important. The first one, which is hook, is not compulsory. You can skip that. However, you have to meet a word count. So I recommend to people that you can use hook. Hook is an attractive sentence like a proverb or a catchy sentence to catch the attention of the audience. So why I recommend writing a hook? Because it fills your word limit. It helps you complete your word limit. That's why I suggest people that if you can think of a very good hook, an attractive sentence to begin your essay with, do write it. But if you cannot think of it in the first 30 seconds, then leave the hook and move on to the next part of the introduction, which is background statement. Background statement means a statement about the topic. For example, if the question is about coeducation, so you can write a general statement about coeducation that nowadays we have seen that most of the universities or institutes are following coeducation. Yeah, most of the institute are allowing it. That can be a background statement. The next one is paraphrase or superphrase of the question statement. You'll have to repeat the question, but not in the words of the question. You'll have to change the words, right? So that it seems slightly different and does not seem like a copy. And the last thing is opinion. Many of the people think that they should not mention opinion in the introduction, but it's written in the IELTS essay pattern that you should mention your opinion in the first part. And remember, your opinion is always asked in an IELTS essay. Just be careful whether it is asked in the whether it is asked in a covert way or whether it is asked in an inert way, whether they are asking it openly or are they asking it submissively. So that is the only difference. And can you please move on to the next? Yes. So this is about the discussion paragraphs. After your introduction will come your discussion paragraphs. Discussion paragraphs contain how you deal with the question, right? So the first point is make 2 discussion paragraphs. Why I'm saying 2 discussion paragraphs? Because one will be in the favor of the statement that you are supporting, and one will be in a general way, written in a general way. So I recommend writing two paragraphs for discussion, and you can make the paragraph with which you agree a little bit longer as compared to the one which is in the general sense. This way, your argument will seem more convincing. Then, it's a rule of academic writing that each paragraph should have its own opening, middle, and end. This means that all the paragraphs should have title lines. The first line of the paragraph should be explanatory. It should explain what is going to come next in the paragraph. Then the first line should of each paragraph, it should be clearly stating that what problem is being discussed in the paragraph, and the last line of each paragraph should conclude that point of view. So these are the characteristics of an academic essay. So please move on to the next slide, Hima. Yes. Then always include relevant examples, examples of the sort which seem suitable for the topic. They should be included. Remember that an IELTS essay is usually about a social issue, and social issue of the current times are discussed in the IELTS essay. IELTS essay is never about a topic which is traumatic for anyone. For example, topics like bomb blasts or terrorism will never appear in an IELTS test, because people can get traumatized by looking at such a topic in an IELTS exam. So these topics are never included. Also, topics related to politics, solid politics, and religion are not included in the IELTS exam. So I'll recommend you should also not use these topics to support your argument in any way in an IELTS essay. These topics are a big no-no for an IELTS essay. Try to prove your arguments via scientific argumentation. So yes, there is another point. Use cohesive devices such as moreover, furthermore, therefore, hence, thus, firstly, secondly, finally, on one hand, on the other hand. You should use these devices to make your essay seem like a unit and to make it feel more like a discussion or an argumentation. If you know how to use these devices, it's good. And if you do not know, then you can follow the Language House PK page. And there you can learn. Also, you can have our course. You learn how to use these and many other devices and other parts of the IELTS writing module as well. Use 2 to 3 good adjective or adjective phrases in each paragraph. This is to show your vocabulary. As I said in the spoken section, that it is not important to speak a difficult vocabulary, but it is important to have accurate vocabulary. You're expected to have a level of vocabulary. For example, if you're talking about language, then the expected vocabulary will include terms like mother tongue, first language, second language, language acquisition. This is expected vocabulary. For every topic, there is an expected vocabulary. They will be present on all the important, all the authentic sites of IELTS. These expected vocabulary is there, and Language House is going to open a course in which this expected vocabulary will specially be covered, so you can use that as well. Next is complex syntax is a must. Syntax means the structure of your sentence. Some people just make this, that, this is it, this is that, these type of sentences. They are just using that in IELTS exam. This is not very wise. I'll recommend you to make complex sentences. Join two of the sentences by using simple conjunctions. For example, coeducation has been introduced in most of the institutes of the world to save the space, or because it saves the space and gives more interactive opportunities to both the genders. So by this way, you will be using complex syntax and you will get more marks. So next is conclusion. You can, many people say that In fact, before this discussion, Hema was asking me this question that many people think that conclusion is the summary of the essay. So I would like to bust this myth here. Conclusion is not the summary of your essay. Summary will be repetition, and this is a very short essay of 250 words. So conclusion is just that in the light of above discussion, this point of view is more valid. This is all that you say in the conclusion paragraph. A very nice sentence can be, um, in the culmination of the above discussion, it is quite clear that coeducation is more viable as compared to the separate education. So this is how you can write your conclusion. But remember, it is not the summary of the essay. So please do not repeat all the words of the essays. In the conclusion, you just tell that this is the crux of the essay. Just tell the crux, that why you believe the way you do. Please do not repeat the whole essay.
Okay, my next question is, Sana, what points can we include in the discussion paragraph and how many discussion paragraphs should we make?
Well, the previous discussion was all about discussion paragraphs. The points I just told, you can include all of, in fact, you should include all of these points in the discussion paragraphs. And I recommend you should only have two discussion paragraphs, not more than that. Why? Because there is a time limit. You have to write your essay of 250 words in 40 minutes. So if you write more, you'll have more words to recheck. You'll have to think more, you'll have to write more, and for rechecking you'll need more time, and time is again a challenge in IELTS writing essay. So I recommend just two paragraphs for the discussion passages, not more than that.
Okay, some people believe that conclusion is the summary of the essay. Is that right?
No, I'd like to bust this myth here. As I was telling before, that conclusion is not the summary of the essay, and that just tells people that why you believe in the specific way that you do. You just justify your opinion. You just say, in the culmination of the above discussion, it is quite clear. That type of sentences should be included in a conclusion. Other than that, it's not the summary.
Right now, I want to take one question regarding conclusion. Someone, Janta Gyan Chand, is asking, does the conclusion should be according to our favored discussion? Yeah, this is the most asked question.
Yes, this is the most asked question, and obviously, the conclusion should be according to the discussion paragraphs. If you are in favor of one side, then your conclusion should also be in the favor of that side. In fact, you have to tell that why you support that opinion in your conclusion. Remember, if you're writing an essay about co-education and you think that co-education is good, so do not write in the conclusion that co-education is bad. It won't make any sense, right? So it's just like you draw a discussion and give the result exactly opposite of that discussion. You will suffer badly. You'll get very bad marks if you give conclusion opposite to your discussion. Your conclusion should be according to your discussion.
So, Sana, how should we conclude our writing section? Because one of let's take the comment as well along with this. Using word like it can be concluded is good or bad. Like how should we start our conclusion paragraph?
Yeah, that is a
Directly, like
very
I. Mhm.
sentence. Yeah. That's a very nice sentence. You can use this example perfectly well. You can say that it can be concluded as this discussion can be concluded as, and write that. There is this very good word that I have seen in the culmination of the above discussion. It is quite clear that this is also a very
Okay.
good phrase to write a conclusion. Yeah, these are all formal words for concluding an essay.
Okay. Moving ahead, we have another question. Can you please show us a sample band 8 essay?
Yes, I think I can. If you move to the relevant slides, um, I can show you a band 8 essay.
Yes.
Okay.
This one, right? Hmm.
Yes, exactly this one. So here is an example of a Band 8 essay. First, I'd like you to see the question. It's written, currently there is a trend towards the use of alternative forms of medicine. However, at best, these methods are ineffective and at worst, they may be dangerous. To what extent do you agree with this statement, right? So this is a typical form of an IELTS question. And Hema, please move to the next slide so I can show you guys that how someone has. I've seen this essay in some app. The app is called IELTS Writing, and this is the same app that I have mentioned you guys before in the introduction section. So see how they have attempted it. This is a very good introduction of a paragraph. It starts like alternative medicine is not new. This is kind of hook and a background statement. Then see the next sentence. It is accepted that it predates conventional medicine and is still used by many people all over the world. So this is the paraphrasing of the question. They have repeated the question but in completely different words. And then in the last line of the introduction, he has given his opinion. I am unconvinced that it is dangerous, comma, and feel that both alternative and conventional medicines can be useful. This is
Wow.
this is a perfectly written introduction, and you've seen the vocabulary of unconvinced. This is a very good word right there in the introduction. In fact, this person has used two of the very good vocabulary words right there in the introduction. The first is predates and the second is unconvinced. So from here it is quite evident that this person is going to score very good in IELTS exam. Can we move to the next slide?
Yes.
So here is the discussion paragraph 1, and just look at the first line. There are several reasons why the conventional medical community is often dismissive of alternatives. So the very first line of the paragraph tells you what the paragraph is about. It is about the reasons that why conventional medical community thinks that this alternative medicine is not good, right? It is like a title sentence. And he has also used the word dismissive, which is a very good vocabulary word. Then we move forward with that. Firstly, there has been little scientific research into such medicine, so there is a scarcity of evidence to support the claims of their supporters, right? See the use of cohesive device firstly. And then because he's elaborating the same point, so instead of using the word secondly, this person has used the word furthermore because he's elaborating the same point. So, furthermore, people often try such treatment because of recommendations from friends and therefore come to the therapist with a very positive attitude, which may be part of the reason for the cure. So, here is a complex syntax. You see that he has joined three sentences. Vocabulary is going excellent. Look at the word scarcity of evidence. Moreover, furthermore, henceforth, and then he very aptly concludes this paragraph. Moreover, these therapies are usually only useful for long-term chronic conditions. Acute medical problems such as accidental injury often require more conventional medicine. So from here it's quite clear that this person is going to score a band 8 or 8.5 because it is a perfectly written discussion paragraph which explains the reasons that why conventional medicine is not why conventional medicine community is not in favor of the alternate medicine. Then this is the second discussion paragraph. On the other hand, this is again, it starts with a cohesive device. There remains strong argument for the use of alternatives. The very first line tells you that this paragraph is about the evidence that shows that alternate medicine is also effective, right? So you can see that despite the lack of scientific proof, there is a lot of anecdotal evidence to suggest that these therapies work. So look at the vocabulary. Despite the fact, anecdotal evidence, again cohesive device. In addition, far from being dangerous, they often have few or no side effects. So the worst outcome would be no change, right? Again, the use of complex syntax. One of the strongest arguments for the effectiveness of alternate therapies in the West is that whilst conventional medicine is available without charge, many people are prepared to pay considerable sums for the alternatives, right? So this is also an example of the Western society, that their conventional medicine is provided for free, whereas for alternate medicine, people have to pay money. So, but people still do that. So here the demand of example is also fulfilled. So if there were totally unhelpful, it would be surprising if it continued. Very logical argument and beautiful ending, very apt ending to this question. Please move on to the next one. And here is the conclusion. It is a perfectly written conclusion, just like I was telling you, you should be writing. I strongly believe that conventional medicine and alternative therapies can and should coexist. Again, he's told about his opinion, and they have different strengths and can both be used effectively to target particular medical problems. Right now, he's justifying that why he thinks the way he does. He believes that both these therapies should continue, and he's giving the reason for that, that both are effective in different conditions. The best situation would be for alternative therapies to be used to support and complement conventional medicine. Here he has also provided a suggestion, right? So that is why this is a perfectly written band 8 to 8.5 essay. And if you can copy this style and use such type of vocabulary and syntax, there is no chance that you will be getting anything less than a band 8 in your IELTS essay.
Okay, this was the end, right? This was the example. So my next question is, can you briefly explain how IELTS essay is marked?
Well, yes, I can. Can you please move to the marking slide? There is a marking criteria for it.
Yes.
Yes, here they have given the marking criteria for the IELTS exam. Remember, there is a very complex, lengthy band descriptor for IELTS band as well, but this is the short form. So starting with task 2, in task 2, your examiner is looking for these 4 things. Number 1, addressing the task, which means that you have to write about the social issue which is given in the question. Secondly, giving relevant main points, right? Your essay should be coherent. It should contain coherence. Like if you are asked to write about alternate and conventional medicine, then your essay should be about that. You should not start writing about crocodiles and birds or anything else, right? It should be to the point. Giving a clear position. Clear position means you should tell that what you think, exactly tell that what is your opinion, and then provide a conclusion, right? These 4 things are called task response. So for task response, your examiner looks for these 4 things. Second portion is coherence and cohesion, that I have explained you in the essay as well. Coherence is write about the topic, no left right discussion, nothing should be irrelevant of the topic. And cohesion are the grammatical devices to make your essay look like a single unit. Then comes lexical resource, that means your vocabulary. As I was telling you, your vocabulary should be accurate and accurate to the situation, just like is demanded by the situation. There is a thing known as expected vocabulary. For every topic, there are a few words which are expected to be used, and you should use them. There is no need to use difficult words, but appropriate words are demanded, and you should write them. And lastly, grammatical range and accuracy. Grammatical range is the grammar of your essay should be correct. Mostly people from India and Pakistan have good grammars, but where they make most mistakes is at coherence and cohesion and a lexical resource. They cannot use good vocabulary. So that's where they get a little bit, they suffer a little bit. So you can save this slide, and that will remind you how to write an IELTS essay.
Okay, perfect. This was the end of the slides. Now it's time, and we have just finished, by the way, on the time. So now it's time to take the questions. Most of the people, Sana, are asking that what will be the letter pattern? Will it contain body only, or will contain address, place, etc. too as an informal letter?
Well, let me tell you, for an ICE letter, you do not need to write your addresses or anything. You just start with Dear Sir, then the body of the essay, which is also given in the form of the outline, discuss the outline in the body of the letter, and just sign XYZ. That's all. No need to write any address or uh, to whom it may concern or any sentence like that. That is not required. In fact, it's written right over the essay that you are not supposed to write any addresses or anything.
Okay, so the letter should be a formal one or informal?
Depends upon the question. Sometimes they ask you to write a complaint letter to an authority or to write a letter to your boss. That will be formal letter. And if they ask you to write a letter to your friend, then definitely it will be semi-formal to slightly informal. Only formal and semi-formal essays are included in IELTS pattern. They never ask you to write informal letters.
Okay, we have another question. So the question is, you have to write in favor and opposition review about the topic. So can you like give the example of both of the topics?
Yes. Remember that you can either support or write against the topic. You can discuss both. For example, if the topic is co-education and I support co-education, so I'll first discuss co-education and why I support it. And in the second paragraph, I can say that some people do not support it because of this issue. So I can touch upon both, but support only one. I can explain both, but touch on one. That is the way for a nice essay.
1 minute. Yeah. So we have another question, also similar question regarding this. Muhammad Salim is asking, is there always an argumentative essay? At conclusion, you have to suggest, agree or disagree.
Yes, all the IELTS essays are academic, whether in the general or academic module. The essay is always academic and it is always argumentative because you have to present your arguments in favor or opposite to, or you have to discuss a topic, a social issue. So the essay is always of the argumentative nature. They never give you descriptive or biography essays or anything like that. The essay is always argumentative. And you have to suggest, agree, or disagree. That completely depends upon you. And remember, one thing I tell people again and again, that they are not asking, it's not a truth and dare. It's not like that you have to tell what you actually think about something. Be smart and support the side according to which you have more points in your mind. For example, um, in a major part of my life, I have studied in separate education. I really enjoyed that time, and I feel comfortable reading in. I feel comfortable being in an institute which is only for girls. I enjoy more because you have more opportunities to make friends. You feel relaxed. But if I have to write an essay, I'll always use co-education. Why? Because I have more points in my mind in favor of co-education. So see that which side has more points in your mind. Your personal opinion, your very personal opinion doesn't matter. No IELTS examiner is going to look into your mind that what you actually think or believe. Just favor the side according to which you have more points. I recommend whenever this type of question appear, take a paper, put a line in the middle of the paper, write about both sides, write points about both sides, and then see which side seems heavy. Many a times it seems like that we support one side, but when we write the points, we realize no, the other side is more valid. So this is what I recommend, that support the side about which you have more points and more logical reasoning in your mind.
Now we have two similar questions regarding letter. Can you please talk about the body of the letter?
Well, there is nothing complicated about a letter because you are given an outline and you just have to elaborate the outline. So the body of the essay is not at all complicated. You just have to write what's given in the outline.
Okay, and it should be of one paragraph, right?
You
One.
can make more than one paragraph. You can make two or three paragraphs. Remember, a paragraph can be two lines as well. So depends upon how many points you have to explain. You can make as many paras. Yes, two paragraphs are enough. Even if you are making one paragraph, that is also completely fine. It number of paragraphs doesn't matter in a letter.
And we have another question. Spelling mistakes are allowed.
No, they are not allowed. Spelling mistakes, you will be penalized for spelling mistakes. So be careful and prepare your spellings well.
We have another question. Then, what is the difference between opinion and conclusion? Opinion should come in introduction, as you mentioned. At conclusion, what to write then instead of opinion.
Well, your opinion is which side of the essay you side with. That's your opinion. And you mention that in the introduction of the essay. In the conclusion, you mention that why you believe so, why you support this opinion. You explain, you give the crux of your opinion. That why I believe so. That is conclusion. And what you believe, that's an introduction.
So, Sana, many of the students are asking for the resources for IELTS writing. Can you please share some of those?
Of course, I can. In the first session, I had mentioned a few apps which are very good for IELTS writing. My favorite app is IELTS writing that I have also mentioned in the slides. Uh, Hima, if you can find that slide, please show that.
This one? One second. Oh,
The one with the icon of app in the middle.
yes.
This one. Yes, so this is the best app that I have found online for the IELTS essays. It has some 22 essays. All the essays are written in a very good way. So, and the one that I just showed you, the Band 8 essay, was also from this app. And this is a free app. So you can go to the Play Store, download that, and take advantage from it. It also has many sample essays, many sample letters, and also the analysis paragraph which are included in academic essay. The vocabulary is very good, and at the end of the essay, they give you the review of the examiner as well. So that will be, I hope that will be very helpful for all the students who are preparing for IELTS writing.
Okay, now, Sana, I have one very important question before we conclude our session. I have taken all the important questions. So, so how is Language House helping people with writing module?
Well, we have a very interactive module. It's a package, and we check 20 essays which have to be written on the consecutive dates. So we have designed that IELTS writing course very keeping in mind the needs of the people who are taking IELTS exam. And it comes with all the notes which are necessary, plus exercises to practice different things of the IELTS writing. It also contains a major chunk of vocabulary for IELTS. More than 250 words are included in that vocabulary list. So, Language House provides a 1 month course dedicated to IELTS writing, in which you get your essays checked. None of the other institutes provide you with this facility that your essays will be checked and you will get one-to-one guidance on every essay by a real-time instructor. So this is the best option that is available. Otherwise, there are many academies and there are many institutes which are giving online lectures, but they do not check your essays and do not provide you one-to-one checking review of the essay. With Language House, all 20 essays will be checked and you will receive the feedback on those essays. So, if you have a problem in writing, essay writing, please follow or message on the Language House PK's Facebook or Instagram page. You can even mention that in comments here if you want to join the course, and that will thoroughly guide you how to get a good band in IELTS writing.
Okay, it's almost about 40 minutes to our session. Sana, before we end, do you want to take one or two more comments? Or Language House would be commenting them later?
Yes, I'll be answering the question. Language House would be answering all the questions that we have covered most of the questions in the session. But if anything is
Yes.
remaining, Language House will be personally answering the questions in the comment section. Also, if
Okay.
still you have another query, you can ask Language House page directly to give you the
Mm-hmm.
answer to that. And
Okay.
yeah, that's the thing.
So my last question is, how was your experience with the scholarships corner page?
Well, I'd really like to thank Scholarships Corner for this opportunity because I've seen that people are really suffering when they are going to prepare for their IELTS exam, and there is nowhere they can go and get guidance. So I'd like to really thank to Scholarships Corner, and especially Fawad. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to conduct this mini IELTS series on the Scholarships Corner page. The facilitation was very good. Hima, I'm really thankful to you. You are an excellent moderator and an excellent host. You cooperated so good, and because of you, the sessions maintained their pace as it was. Secondly, I'd also like to say that the audience on Scholarships Corner page is so good. They are so interactive and attentive. They ask the relevant questions. So I think I've never received this kind of attentive response from any audience before. And yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell people that if you have a skill and you want to share it with the youth, you know something that can benefit the youth, you should also contact Scholarship Corner page. You can either send them message in the page or in the about section their email is given. You can email them if you have any session in your mind and you want to conduct it with this page. Please go for it. They have an excellent audience, their content is very good, and they update their page very regularly. So I'm really impressed by the page admin and the content of the page and the audience. I'm really impressed. It was a very good experience. And I thank you all for staying tuned and paying attention to all these sections. Inshallah, I'll try to answer any of the questions. I've tried to cover all the questions, but if still any question is remaining, I'll try to cover that.
Okay, thank you so much, Sana. It was a pleasure having you on our page. And all our before I conclude this session, I would like to thank all our audience, especially for asking the relevant questions. And if we have mistakenly or missed any of your questions, Language House would be answering your questions in shortly. So be patient, and till then, take care of yourself. This was a crash course from our side. It was just a small effort to help our community, and we will be, inshallah, coming up with some more interactive sessions. Please do tell us how was the whole week session and how much you gained, and uh, if you give IELTS exam in coming months, please let us know about your success story. We would love to publish that on our page. Thank you so much once again, Sana, for giving your time, some valuable time to us, especially to our audience. And I personally loved this whole week session. Inshallah, we'll come up again with some more sessions with you. Thank you once again. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz. Take care,
Allah.
everyone.
Take care.